ADR module, and we also have some module on etiquette and manner. And lastly, we also have a module. Sorry, not lastly, we have other modules. We have financial management module, public procurement. Public procurement is a must for every government office. So we try to teach public procurement. We have other specialized module, chemical weapon convention, because the customs official have to know about this convention. We have good governance, ethics, uh, classification and valuation for the customs purposes, and money laundering prevention activities. We have Bangladesh government currently have a Money Laundering Prevention Act, and we have also a Bangladesh Financial Intelligence Unit. So in this module, we try to focus on how to deal with cases, because the Bangladesh Customs recently have the mandate to investigate money laundering related uh, crimes. That's why we have been introducing this module. We have a module on audit manual. We have a audit manual on VAT and customs. So these are taught on this module. In this module, we have leadership module, ICT and revenue management course. These terms. Okay, so I'm skipping the name of the acts and rules. We have a proposal for a new building. Basically, these are only proposal. We are waiting for the approval. After the proper approval of the government, then this infrastructure will be built. These are some activities by our trainee. It's a march parade on our parade ground. Trainee officers, they're performing parade. These are some snap from workshop. So these what are the strengths? Strengths. The vital strength is we have 39 acres of land property. Uh, Current environment. This is a huge enough land area for a academy. We have spacious academic building. We have three large training room. These rooms are equipped with air conditioning, with sufficient lights. We have projector and sound system, so that the traditional approach of teaching the training through lecture, we can do this very well. We have a large computer lab. We have a pretty large enough playground for cricket. We have a tennis ground and a badminton ground. Uh, we have a basketball ground. Uh, we have three large dormitory. We have a conference room. We have little bit skilled manpower, not so much. We have a very attractive library. It's full of various kinds of books, and we every year we try to procure the latest edition of various kinds of books, ranging from history to taxation, economics, business, all topic, all the things are. And we have a medical center, but it's not currently in use. but we have a doctor and a nurse. Community facility, we have a school for the children of the officers and the staff
Employees.
of the academy. We have a mosque for Muslim. We have utility facilities such as electricity, gas, telephone, Wi-Fi facilities. We have residential facility for officers and staffs, and our academy is very near to our custom house, which is the largest custom house of our country. So we can send our trainee for field trips for learning the customs activities. So weakness, we have some weakness. First of all, our all of our building was built on 1981, so we are a little bit vulnerable. So we have some problems on some. We have to do some uh, repairing work every year so that they can be usable. So infrastructure is not sufficient. We need we need more accommodation for our trainee and our officer. We don't have a large auditorium. We need an auditorium because for performing seminar workshop for a large audience, we need an auditorium. Also for the trainee, so that they can perform their extracurricular activities. We don't have any language lab, and our water supply is not sufficient. We don't have any gymnasium, uh, and we don't have sufficient fund from the government, so that we can improve our infrastructure and other teaching area. And we don't have any collaboration with the foreign custom or VAT academy, and these are the weakness basically. And we have, of course, we have opportunity. We have a fairly large land area, so that we can develop new infrastructure. We can, with these infrastructural and other logistical support, we can train customs and VAT officials. We have, if we can have a collaboration with foreign customs and VAT academy. I think that we can have training exchange program. And if we can get help from the WCO, we can develop our customs learning activities. And if we can spare our officer other than day-to-day activity, we can train our stakeholders such as taxpayers. And if we get help from the other regional offices such as WCO, and we can become a training hub. So threats, we are very near to sea, coastal area. That's why whenever the sea is rough, there are some natural disaster on our academy. There are lots of trees there. When there's storm, good amount of tree fell, we have to cut it down, so it's a problem. And we have salinity in water. Due to this, we have to procure drinking water from outside. We have some environmental problems, such as the adjacent area is industrial area, so there are some environmental pollution coming in. we have some professional officer or professional trainer. We lack of that. So this is the planned digital planned plan. We have submitted this proposal to the government so that we can build modern academic building and modern dormitory for our trainee and for our trainers and our staff. And that's all. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that overview. It would be useful to us if we're able to have a copy of the PowerPoint. Maybe you can just.
Yes, I'm sharing it.
Well, thank you. We'll be able to then use some of the information when we go forward. Thank you very much for that. If based on the overview, then, if the director's okay, we could go to item 2 on the agenda that I circulated in advance. And that was to talk about some of your needs from us, or areas that you feel you would like our support. One of the areas we had looked at whether we might be able to support you in was developing competency-based training strategy, and giving you at least some of the guidance there, unless you've already developed that area yourselves. But that was one area I wanted to talk about today, was the competency-based training, and whether or not you've moved that forward in the organisation, or whether it's something that you would like to move forward in the organisation.
DG sir, you can.
Rather, I request Qazi Ziauddin to put his insight regarding this issue.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. This is Qazi Muhammad Ziauddin, Additional Director General. At first, I convey my gratitude and thanks to DG sir for arranging and other parties to arrange such a meeting, and extraordinarily beautiful. Jamil, you just delivered a very nice presentation in a very brief. And our colleagues, Giyas Kamal, Mahmoud Hassan, everybody, good afternoon. This is absolutely an opportunity for me to say something about academic capacity building especially. And so far I can understand whether it could be a project to strengthen this academy in future, then definitely a strategic action plan must come ahead, and a business plan, what can I say, the blueprint. We have to formulate a blueprint for the future academic look, what we want to see in 2025, 2030. 10 years, not a very big time, in fact, because a full-fledged academic, a full-fledged strategic activities and project, it almost needs on and 2 year, couple of year, on year. So 10 years could be our better time to project the future academic look. In these points, if we keep in mind, then definitely two aspects there. One is internal aspects, that is our human resources of the academy, our physical resources of the academy, our internal organizational setup, and the communication and link with the NBR and other ministries with the academy. Sometimes it needs. These are the part internal human resource, and physical activities, and I think not activity. Physical resources are our land and other buildings, overall academic physical facilities, and that is called environment in broader sense. We have to deliver and provide and secure best and international environment in this academy, and we have that opportunity. It is really situated at the bank of the Bay of Bengal. It's a fantastic place. after 10 years, 20 years, there's a calamity. That's not a very big business and not an issue, because it is act of God. So it is a very fantastic place in academy. So if I can inculcate and explore the place, so it will be a very nice place for the academy. It's no matter, no issue. So organizational set up the issue, and how the other officers and trainers will work. The number 2 is trainer. We have to develop some trainers, senior trainers like Joint Commissioner, Additional Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners. We have to produce some trainers for a long time. 2030, it could be a trainers pool. There could be a trainers pool. Not like that when a training starts, we have to just call him or her in a very informal way. Not like that. That could be trainers pool. 30, 40, big number could be there. And other is, that is time frame. Time frame is very important. We can change something new. In our academy, mostly foundation training for the officers like ARO, inspectors, and revenue officers. They are, in fact, not cadre officer, gazetted first class officer, but not cadre. But cadre officers start from assistant commissioner and above. They also have some foundation training. Foundation training is the key of our academy, the main business. And other is there are some other training also already Jamil covered. So in this particular area, can we really short the time period? Say 1 month foundation training, 2 month foundation training. 1 month could be residence. Because if I deploy 6 months, 3 months, huge number of people here, then cost is very high. Sometimes it is not too effective. Sometimes in this pandemic situation, like more 2 years, 3 years, it could not be even possible. So residence 1 month and rest 2 months will be in Zoom meeting or other e-platform. That could be the time frame. So we can rethink the time frame of the some schedules and other reinvention could be happen. And also the cost also a very important issue. Budget is a very important issue. So I can recap. First one is organizational setup. Second one is build up some trainers, that is trainers pool. Third one is time frame of the different and schedules of the different training. And fourth one is very important for that is called motivational approach for the academy. Motivational approach, that means whoever people, officers, staffs, and other trainers who are working with the academy, aligned with the academy, they must be provided some facilities like good residence, some remunerations, some training remuneration maybe happen, training remuneration, or some other in motivational approach. It could be financial, it could be non-financial. And finally, one more issue, that is training in abroad. Training in abroad. Sometimes in foundation training, if I can project earlier before starting the training, who will secure first, second, third in the exam, then they could be giving more training in the abroad. Then the trainers will feel some extra interest and work better. Is not it in other also academy? It is happening. So time, budget, training, all points I covered. And finally, this is my inquisitive question, that is whether there will be a full-fledged project present in the academy with a particular time frame, like 2 years, 3 years project. Then could be our discussion could be like that. So we can sit together, then we can formulate a blueprint of this, all the issues, and then strategically we can move. Initially from my part, and these are the points. And next time, if I can memorize more thing and more points come, then I will join again, inshallah. Thank you. This point from my part.
Can I can I say something?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I want to emphasize on a particular area. such as the training, mode of training. So traditionally, Customs Academy is training its officers and other stakeholder on a traditional approach. It's a classroom-based interaction with the speaker and the and we have some projection facility. The trainer come with a PowerPoint presentation. So with the presentation, he described the core facts, something like that. And this is our traditional approach. I think that, and I have experienced that this traditional approach is not effective right now. So, can we seek cooperation in this field? How to conduct a effective training with a view that the professional is certain professional skills are developed.
Okay. Okay. If I can firstly come back to Kazi and his points, and then I'll come back to your points if I may. On the first points that you raised about the organisation, the looking forward 5 to 10 years. Normally, we would develop a training strategy for 5 years. 5-year training strategy. The 5-year training strategy would have a number of components in it, and it would look at the human resource issues. It would look at a gap analysis, where we are, where we want to be, and then it will develop the activities to be able to get us to where we actually want to be. One of the preliminary tasks I have done was to develop a guide how to undertake that strategic approach. So if you're interested, that's one of the things I will share with you after this meeting at the end of the week or into next week. And maybe once you've had an opportunity to read through it, then we could have another Zoom meeting and have some discussions around it. So that was the first point I wanted to make, and I'm not sure if you'd like to comment on that, Mohammed, but that was what I was going to propose to you. On the second point, in relation to the approach to training, I have developed in preparation a 5-day training course, which goes into training trainers how to develop training modules, blended training. That means how to develop the different modes of delivery of the training. And part of that training course would also look into practicing how to develop module with these people, if you had some people. So again, I have the timetable in front of me. I can always share the timetable now, but I can share it later with you. And then you can have a look at it. And again, we can discuss through whether at some point you would like that course delivering to you. I've prepared the course and all the course materials, which are the PowerPoints, the handouts, etc. And if you wanted a group of your trainers to go through that course, then that's something you'd be able to talk to Peter about, and maybe we could arrange delivery of that to you at some point in the future. So on those 2 points, just to let you know, there are points in the agenda. I have some materials already prepared in preparation for our discussions. So hopefully once you've seen some of those materials, you might be able to come back and we can have further discussions on how to move those materials forward.
Well, It's a new concept, blended training.
Blended training, yeah.
Yeah. So it would be like that physical presence and through.
Online activity.
Yeah, I mean, it would go through an approach. It would go through the approach of training in how to incorporate the classroom with remote learning, with then coming on electronically onto Zoom, having some subject discussions, host group discussions, etc. So that all builds into your new training module. So, and for instance, when I used to be a manager in the UK Customs many years ago, one of my responsibilities, I had the trainers who trained VAT officers. So my senior officers were training VAT officers, and at that time, that module involved them doing some e-learning and answering questions and going through materials, then discussing that with their trainers, then going out on accompanied training activities to the traders, learning, and that went over a number of months, these activities, but they're built into a different module. It wasn't all classroom training, it was blended training. So, and that's the type of thing I would suggest, that it's something that you would be worth exploring and see how you might be able to use some of this training in Bangladesh and develop it for your needs. I think an e-platform itself, part of the training module that I've designed to maybe give to you, I also explain what the e-learning platforms are available. To develop a e-learning platform is a very resource intensive and expensive approach. But the first one, and which I believe is very doable in the short to medium term and very effective, is blended learning, where you can take some components, build them into the module, and building classroom. I also think it's the most effective means of delivering some of this training. We still have things like the WCO Click platform. We have a World Trade Organization e-learning platform as well. So we can use those platforms. And part of the training module, I was going to show the people those platforms anyhow and walk through the platforms on live demonstrations through Zoom, if we wanted to do that. But I think there is some scope for that. But when we come back to the strategy, when you're building in the strategy, we should really be looking at competency-based learning, so that we understand the competency our officers need, and developing then the requirements and the training programs to deliver those. But having looked forward for the 5 years and through our human resource plans to understand what our needs actually are. So that's where, and again, once you've had a look at some of the materials I've been trying to prepare for you, and if I share with you, then we could maybe in a few weeks' time, or once you've had a chance to look at them, have another Zoom meeting to discuss the things that are in those materials. I don't know if you'd like to. The director would like to suggest make a statement.
Thanks, Mr. Moore. We are waiting for your materials. Certainly, we will study on your materials, discuss among ourselves, and in the near future we'll again join in such type of Zoom meeting or something else. We'll have a discussion on that. At the moment, we are trying to do something new, some training on e-learning type model. Such Mr. Jamil expressed some of ideas. At the moment, we conduct most of the trainings over Zoom platform. So one area, and we recorded that training. After that, we upload that training in our own YouTube channel, dedicated YouTube channel. There we upload our training activities, lectures, interactions, questions, answer, all. Just we bit edit a little bit to make it noise free, trouble free, or something else to make it much more attractive to audience.
Yes.
There are two types of video uploading. One is public. It's open for anyone, any stakeholders of customs or VAT can hear and watch that materials. Some of our videos are restricted. That is unlisted video. We
Yeah.
share the link of that videos to our dedicated officers. Among those officers listen and take the essence of that training. That's why we are trying to create a new environment, and we are now explores e-learning platform of WCO, that is ClickC. Downloaded some matters, listen some training modules, and it's immensely helpful for customs officer, you know. And with the help of WCO, a discussion is going on to arrange and to establish the e-learning platform of our own. We had discussions since 2017. Due to COVID situations, we are a bit slow, but still we are very hopeful. We can make our independent e-learning portal.
Yeah.
I can
They're very laudable.
I can talk more. My voice betrayed with me.
Well, thank you, sir, for sharing those. Yeah. It's very
Nigel,
useful.
can I come in here?
Yes, certainly. Okay.
I just want to point out that everything Nigel has raised here, the training strategy, the strategic action plan, blended learning, looking at the gap analysis, trainer, training module development, that's all within the scope of our project. So what we need is you to get together and come back to me with your requirements, work with Nigel, and then we can put them together so you get actual action instead of just talking.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I think it's important, as Peter's saying, is for us to move forward then into identifying what you could use from the materials. It's very interesting the efforts that you're making, as the director says, particularly on YouTube. It sounds quite good. And with the WCO, obviously, there is the Click platform. The Click platform has put a lot of effort's been put into development. It does need to be tailored to the requirements of the country. Some of the training materials on there are very generic, and you can improve those training materials. However, the core information is there, and particularly using YouTube even for the traders. And moving through and giving the traders their opportunity, they can go on and learn some of the procedures for customs is a very laudable initiative. So these things, very positive things that you're moving forward, and hopefully things that if I can add any assistance to you in some of the other areas that you find useful, then I'll be glad to do so. So one of the things we wanted to do, once I've shared some of the materials, was to identify with you maybe 2 or 3 training modules that you'd like us to look at and maybe turn into a blended training activity. And it might meet some of your priority training needs in the next year, or looking forward where you see a particular important element of your training. You might like to see if we can change that into a blended format from the traditional format. Well, that's something else that if you give some thought to, but I think the first stage would be for me to share some of the materials that I have been preparing, and then for us to get back together on another future Zoom meeting, discuss those materials and see where we go next after that. If the director's agreeable to that approach.
Of course.
Yes, actually, okay. Can I respond?
Sorry.
Sure.
Yes. Actually, so far already described by Nigel, that is e-learning and e-teaching, e-learning. These approaches are actually short-term period, and definitely it is customized. It will be customized based e-learning approach, because all sorts of training could not be conduct in e-learning approach. You know, there is foundation training. There are some other training that must be in presence of the participants. So there are some limitations with the e-learning approach, and it definitely it is for short-term period in the pandemic, next 6 months, 1 year. That is an issue, and definitely for capacity building of the academy, training is the most important core function, and in that particular area, e-learning is a tool, is a training tool that could be delivered easily at any places, wherever the world in this pandemic situation. It could be 2 days, 3 days, and in a very customized need-based modules, some modules on particular issues. But in broader aspects, when we go for the foundation training or other training, then sometimes we have to think in another way, like live presence. So this is an issue I share.
No, that's correct. I think what you need to look at is the type of training courses you're delivering, and then the means of how to deliver those training courses effectively. So, and some of the training you may feel you have in-house capacity to be able to do. Some might be external capacity that you'll require. There's no point in investing a large amount of resource into certain areas which are specific, and when you can bring in some external expertise in those areas. So we need to map against each particular type of training and think how we can best deliver that training to make it the most effective tool for the organization. Yeah. Sorry, maybe I'll go back to the director if you wanted to. Okay, yeah. Would you like to, director, like to say something else?
Okay, so I can again coming. So,
yeah.
What could be our next action plan for this to operate e-learning approach effectively and efficiently? That could be our main point now. So far, I can understand last 1 hour discussion. So e-teaching and e-learning is a very important issue in this pandemic situation. Now, how can we really start it effectively and efficiently? That is important.
Yeah. Okay.
Without making any too much delay.
Yeah. No, that's true. And then the other part of that is we need to understand the competency-based approach to training, and that links back into the strategy. how we move how you move forward in that area. And again, some of the materials I'll send you when you've had chance to look at them. Then I think it'll inform a future discussion for us.
Okay, that's good. So from this discussion, I can recap. That is, one is 5 years academic capacity building issues that covers every components, and especially you focus on the particularly today's agenda. What I reviewed, that is mostly e-teaching and e-learning platform. That is a very important point of today's meeting's agenda, e-learning. And most of the so far my experiences, there are some institutions in Bangladesh. They are also using this platform. Like there are professional institute, not like academic institute. They're using this platform, e-learning platform. This is very popular nowadays, e-learning platform, because people just have to bound to take this platform. Otherwise, for long term, 2 years, 3 years, for this pandemic issues, their production of professionals could not be hindered for this presence issues. So they make it on operations already in e-learning. So definitely, why our academy would be lagged behind? Definitely, our academy also, because in our country perspective, Customs and VAT Department finances almost 60 to 70% of the national budget. Yeah, so the importance of our department and academy should come first, and definitely budget should not be a very big issue. Should not be a very big issue, because we are financing 70% of the budget. So our concern is all just to make it in success.
Yeah.
Not like that we are just make it operational, but there is no use, not that type of effective use that is important. And that there are some other IT issues and IT based what can I say, project. There are some failures in NBR history, and so not in our department, also other department too. There are two tax department: tax, indirect tax, and direct taxes. So whenever we go for some IT-based project, sometimes it is biting us whether it will really is efficient or not. There's a very big issues. So we should not be very unsuccessful. We should be very successful. Really, if we want it meaningfully and do it in from our heart.
Yeah, that's true. But you've already said anyhow that e-learning, etc., is a tool. It's a tool for us. What we shouldn't lose sight of the fact is that it has a place, but we can't put everything into e-learning because that's not necessarily the most effective delivery means. Some of our officers and some of our particular subjects needs that interaction at certain points. It needs to explore with people how they think, because by doing they're learning, and e-learning is one part of that. But we need to look at it in the round and say, okay, it's an important and it's playing a bigger and bigger role, but it's still only one part of the jigsaw, and we need to be ensured that it's an effective piece of the cog in the wheel. I think that's the point I would make.
There are two form of training approach, that is live in presence of the participants, one-to-one communication, that is one approach, and another is e-learning approach. And interestingly, there are different psychological issues and psychological something from inner side works. When participants in presence, they behave in different way. When in live, they behave in different way, and also the teachers. So this is very interesting. So at the same time, academy, if some of the training can arrange through e-learning approach, and other is in presence approach, live approach, then it could be a very good mingle with
And
two
that's-
approach, and
Yeah.
it is infused to the trainers and also the participants in a very effective manner for
Yeah.
their future capacity building to what can I say, to speak, to learn, and
Yeah.
to deliver himself or herself in the audience. There are some issues.
Yeah, and that's what we call the blended learning approach. It's
Yeah,
making sure that you're using e-learning as well as with the
Yeah.
traditional side, because you, as you quite rightly say, by being together, I'm a big champion of participative learning, and that's where they do things. Doing is learning. So there's certain things that they can do, and syndicate groups, etc., in the training environment that has a great deal of value because they're having to think and do things. Linking that with going away and studying things on the e-learning platform, I think is a very powerful tool. But that's by putting the two things together in certain environments and certain training areas. So I think we must not lose sight of that. And it just goes back to what you said before. What is the most effective means or methods of delivering the type of training that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamil, where is Jamil? DG sir, if DG sir can recap everything and make a very valuable summary from his side, then we can be really in a shape on today's meeting and can call it in a day.
Thanks, Mr. Moore and Jia. I enjoyed thoroughly your dialogues and conversations. Due to my physical illness, I can't participate more. I was really very eager for this meeting. So very unfortunate. But I'm at the moment actually looking for next step taken by Mr. Moore. What type of blended training he intended to say. It will be clear to us when we get the roadmap plan, logistics support, and other some details of that called blended e-training. So really interesting e-approach with some sort of physical group activities or syndication. We tried a training. We tried a training session. Some sort of blending approach. That is, some of our trainees are sitting before us, listen our discussion, lectures directly as a living audience, and some of our trainees are over a Zoom platform, listening our lectures from some 100 kilometers away. It was an experiment, but we're not happy with the result of that experiment. It's some sort of create some sort of problems for the trainers to attend the different two types of audience. Although it was a desperate try to reach more audience, to reach more people. So we are thinking it's a really very hard situation due to COVID. Whole world scenario, systems, mechanisms, all are changing. New ideas, new innovations are coming every day to combat this situation, to overcome this situation. So we are really eagerly waiting for Mr. Moore's next move. So deliver your plan to us we explore your ideas, then we must come back to you and this team again. That's all from my
Okay.
part.
Yeah.
Okay. well, thank
Sir,
you.
I want to share some experience here. Should I continue?
Sure.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So,
Go ahead.
to all, we have some new experience, as our DG sir mentioned. Recently, we tried distance learning, and I think this was the first approach in Bangladesh as a government training academy. We tried for the first time distance learning through Zoom meeting apps. Our guest speaker or the trainer was in a place, and the other trainee or the other listeners or other participant were from different parts of the country, and we are not so much equipped with the learning process. We tried the lecture delivery system or the traditional approach like PowerPoint presentation. But after that, we found that the participant, they were very much happy because we have some very popular resource person from our customs and VAT officials who are very much articulated with the customs and VAT acts and law. Particularly our DG sir, he is a very articulate presenter of various complex VAT related issues, and he is a prolific writer of VAT related topics. So the participant, when they got the opportunity to interact with the DG sir and other resource person, they were very much happy because they had many questions. They have a lot of experience they shared with us, and our resource person, they also tried to give some explanation, some clarification regarding the complex VAT acts, rules, such of things. And we found that this very normal kind of interaction also helps the VAT and customs official to perform their day-to-day duty. So it was the beginning, and after that we also offered some specialized training on HS classification and how to deal with the classification complexity. And afterwards we also offered recently we offered a Zoom-based training. This was a blended training, I should say, because we have a physical participant in our training room. They were from our local customs and VAT office, and we have what should I say?
Nationwide participants.
We broadcast that training through the Zoom platform. So we have 50 participants physically attending in the classroom, and we have almost 50% attending the session through Zoom meeting. So I think this is a very customized kind of blended training, and we just discovered that with our very basic thoughts, and our DG sir have the sole credit to discover such kind of blended training. So
Yes.
I think we have already the infrastructure. I think not sufficient or not so world class, but we have some basic infrastructure to.
And you're testing and developing. I mean, recently I delivered Zoom training to Yemen Customs on supply chain security, on PCA systems-based audits, 3-day training events on both subjects, and they worked remarkably well. I was quite surprised. And because we had a trainer on the other end, a local trainer working with me, we could also do I could ask them some questions, they could discuss the issues and give me back the answers. And this is where we get into the blended training and participative training, etc. So there are new horizons for us to explore, and provided we find the most effective way of getting our messages and getting our officers to take in the information, to understand it, then I think that's going to be the way forward for the future, part of our future training tools and techniques. You know, we have to use it the best we can. Okay.
Thank you.
Pleasure. We've talked through, we've gone through most of the agenda I had. You've highlighted to me things that you see as your priorities. And I said I'll share some documents that I've prepared in advance so that maybe we can have another discussion after you've seen them. And there was one other point that we didn't really get onto on the agenda so far, has been the impact of staff rotational policy. That was item 6 on the agenda, and whether that's something you want to discuss today or at a later date. I know that we're taking your time up, so it's an issue of whether or not you'd like to explore that now or some other time.
I think we can explore.
I think first you should clear it, make it clear. What do you mean by rotational policy? Do you mean just some temporary faculty, some officers will come as a trainer, serve for some time and then go, or anything else?
No, sorry. Okay, I understood in Bangladesh Customs you have a policy where your staff rotate regularly through positions, and that impacts on the training delivery, because you might train somebody in a particular subject, the next day they move on to another work area, and therefore that training is not as fruitful as it could be, and how that rotational policy is impacting on the effectiveness of the training that's being delivered. That was my understanding from Guy. There was an issue around rotational policy of the organisation, which could, is a tool that the organisation is using. That was the issue, rather than the rotation of the trainers into the training academy. It was more of an organisational topic. I don't know if Guy would like to. Is he still with us? He wants to discuss it or not?
Well, Nigel, regarding the point, the rotational policy, actually, you correctly mentioned that it is controlled by the central administration, that is the National Board of Revenue. Although the academy is taking their training plan or other academic curriculum, however, the rotational policy mentioned as is the transfer posting policy maintained by the Establishment Department of National Board of Revenue. However, academy can provide us some input so that we can have some recommendations, as mentioned by the Additional Director General in his speech earlier, that there's the challenge of getting permanent faculties over there. And it is also mentioned by Jamil in his presentation that there is permanent specialized staff, like staff on ACS or staff on valuation, there is no such facilities of permanent staff in the academy. So it gives challenges of getting proper faculty in response arranging basically the foundation training. That is one challenge. So we can make some recommendations on the rotational policy, especially on specific sectors like international best practices in some academies like in Kenya or in Japan or in South Asian academy. They have the specialized personnel as trainers, and their posting is fixed in academy, or sometimes the academicians on a specific subject. That is the idea. So academy may think, and they may provide us some recommendation so that we can think more and we can produce certain recommendations on that.
Well, okay. Again, I think you go back to the strategy. Once you look forward at your 5 years and you're identifying what the objectives and the priorities of your organization are, what the new working practices that might be coming in, where your needs are, then you'll be able to identify things like training. The trainer needs to deliver on that strategy, the impact of rotational issues that has on that strategy, and then higher management in Bangladesh Customs can make the informed decisions on how to take it forward. That's my view, is that you look at you do your gap analysis, you do your needs, you set out your strategic approach, and then you see how you're going to deliver against those. Okay.
If your rotation policy is too robust, which it appears it is very robust, you're often moving them on before they've had time to use that training skills you've given them and develop them more and utilize the experience. So onto an area where they have no skills, so that puts more pressure on the training academy to skill people all the time. So people then move very quickly who want more training. So that adds pressure on the training academy continually to deliver.
So I think it's an issue that, as Peter said, and I think I've said, it's an issue that needs to be factored into your thinking as you develop the strategy and how to deliver on the strategy, and if it's having a detrimental impact, then how to redesign the process so that it can be less intrusive on the training and less intrusive on the organization, but still meet the needs for why the rotation's taking place. Okay. Some of which might be, if it's government policy and the organization policy, it may well take a lot to change that policy. It might not be an easy thing to change.
I think Giyash Kamal gave a very nice thought, because in this rotational policy and making the full-time trainers or some specialized trainers, and Moore already said it is very robust. In fact, we can sit with NBR people, especially administration, the respected member who is look up to the administration and other HR issues. We can sit with him. How can we really conduct it for next 5 years plan or 2 years plan? And this is so specifically this pandemic situation, to get the e-learning most operational and successful. This is an issue. Making trainers not an overnight job. It's not possible.
No.
It's an overnight job. This is
Quite
not
right.
trainers, not overnight job. And in our developing nations, well, people are not coming to go further to spread knowledge in academy with a very poor remuneration. That's a very practical approach, I must say. You are not giving our specialized trainer like $1,000 in 2 hours or 1 hour. Or 2
But
hours.
you mentioned at the beginning, one of your points, sorry, was about motivation. How to motivate.
Yeah,
so you mentioned
definitely. Yeah, definitely. So it is a very tough job. It's a very tough job and time consuming. In fact, to some policies could be inoperational, and especially rotational policy. We can sit with NBR. And in the single meeting, if we really think all the components and want to make it everything in really, what can I say, make it a successful summary, then it's not possible in single meeting. we have to sit with NBR, we have to sit with respected DZ, even in academy, and we have to think more and more of this particular component based. But e-learning, we can think it in an e-learning approach, and this is very helpful. Next 6 months or a year in short-term period, e-learning approach. So we can confine our components, we can confine our thinking in such a place, then we can make it success. Otherwise, we are saying many things but cannot do anything. That does not require.
Well, as they say, the well saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. You've got to you take steps, provided you know the direction you want to go, the building blocks, and it takes the steps.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Director Nigel, gentlemen, lady, I have to leave. I have another meeting, but my staff will tell you I don't like meetings that just come out with a date for another meeting. I'd like to see something concrete develop here, and particularly next steps as to what we're going to do. We have a lot of information, so we have a lot of work to put together what we're going to do next. But very good meeting, and it's a pleasure meeting everybody here, and hopefully I'll get to Chattogram at some point and meet you all personally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you,
Peter.
Thank you.
I don't know if we're coming to the end of our meeting anyhow, or whether there are other things that want to be discussed.
Sorry, Nigel. We have other two very experienced consultants here. So may we request them to just get us some heads up together?
Okay.
Prakash sir and Rohis.
Good afternoon. In fact, sir, then you can.
Go ahead, Rohis. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. In fact, I was hearing the whole of discussion. In fact, I was working with the respective Director General, sir, in developing the curriculum of academy. Academy is a very one of my favorite place. I took so many sessions during different batches of foundation training. But I want to clarify a few issues. This meeting and this, the support of this meeting is not confined to the. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Not confined to only the e-learning or blended learning. It depends up to you to identify your requirements, the area of support you are going to require. Except the hard component like infrastructural development and other things, this project is ready to provide you support in other sub-components like developing your training plan, developing training module, organizing training, and including the e-learning, everything you can think about. You can prioritize your area of support so that we can work on that. And you can also think about a couple of days back, I found a letter from NBR that they are going to develop some trainers on new Customs Act. Academy can take lead role in this area for developing some training module, also e-learning module, because this is the very urgent and essential need for our department, as NBR is going to implement the new Customs Act. So this is just an example that what Academy can think for next few years, next few months. And one other thing, couple of months back, I talked to one of my ex-colleague, ex-commissioner of customs. He was working on behalf of Asian Development Bank on the training curriculum, academic curriculum. And you can also check with NBR whether other development partners are working in the same area or not, because there should not be any duplication of activity, and that will not that may create some confusion among the among the officials of Academy, also NBR, and also development partners. So I think there are a lot of areas, a lot of potential to explore in the Academy, and if we work together, everybody will be benefited from this collaboration. Thank you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I'm very happy to see all of my young colleagues, especially our competent DGs, ADGs, and other young colleagues. They're very knowledgeable indeed. I'm very blessed with the very specific and precise deliberation of Mr. Jamil. Thank you very much. And now, just let me explain something regarding the Academy. When I have seen the picture of Academy, I thought that I became within the part of there, because I served in my long service 3 times in the Academy. Once in 1999, then 2003, and 2011. So in fact, in different capacities, serving in the Academy really is a part of my life. But what I have seen now from the presentation of Mr. Jamil, that honestly speaking, what I have lacked in that time, Academy is still there. I'm not very much exaggerated to just consolation that Academy is very much neglected within the NBR regime. Although Academy is the core organizations for the training of our officials, it has a lot of lacking in infrastructure, knowledge, professionalism, and resources. Let me say that Academy only served by our customs people, and the people, those who are working in the Academy, they may not be very well trained. When they be posted in the Academy, they getting trained themselves, and they are serving to other our trainers. So this is one thing. Really, now this is the big opportunity for the Academy to receive some knowledge or expertise from the USAID. Royce very briefly discussed and said that this project for 5 years. In the meantime, we have lost 1 year, and maybe some more times we have to wait for the COVID. So practically, we have not more than 4 years. So I request to my academic colleagues that within that time, what we can do, we can go for some strategic planning, like training. How do we train our young people, what kind of module we need. And we have a lot of resources for development of module and training methodology. And then definitely that sort of a subject must be sustainable. So it is very important. Once we get that one, we have to be in sustainable manner. What I've seen that, say, like in international perspectives, lot of compliances is not, in fact, in the academy, especially for the, say, like question bank for our trainers. It's very important. We have seen that in the different part of the country, they are very well organized. So, definitely this is not the academy perspectives, it is NBR perspectives. What academy can do, they definitely, Mr. Qazi Ziauddin already spoke that there may be some discussion with the NBR, how to correlate, how to accommodate the training and the rotation policy. It's very important, definitely. So actually, this is the very first discussion with the academy. We are expecting to visit very shortly. Once we come to you and discuss face to face, I'm sure that so many new things will be coming out, and from our side and definitely from your side, we'll go forward and we provide professional and technical or capacity sides support to the NBR and the academy. So thank you very much for listening to me. Okay, see you sometimes.
Thank you. Geese, do you want to say anything towards the end, or does the director want to say anything? I think we're coming.
Yeah, thank you, Nigel. It's almost 2 hours. The respected DG, although having some physical constraint, he's kindly giving a lot of time with us. So it's our pleasure, and all the senior officials of academy is with us. It's great pleasure actually, and it's their kindness giving a lot of time, couple of hours time. It's really praiseworthy and fantastic. And Jamil, the presentation. But the thing here, we need to dig into more. That is preparation of complete training curriculum, as the additional director mentioned. That is, we have to draft 5 years academic curriculum, or although it will be very preliminary draft. However, they have the opportunity to see a bird's eye view on the matter, that what the academy will get into that, and after that we can shorten the priority area. Now, as he mentioned, the e-learning or blended training curriculum, that is that will be conducted due to the COVID crisis. However, the sustainability is that in our country context, in-person training is more effective, and emphasis is given on in-person training, because a lot of things and practical activities will be conducted through in-person training, like on the campus training, because in customs matters, a lot of practical things will be included in the final course curriculum. And academy is being modernized day by day. There will be like pilot laboratory and other things that will be piloted in the academy, like hands-on training. So due to the hands-on training implementation, we have to give the emphasis on on-campus training and hands-on training, practical training. So at this point, yeah, as I mentioned, that Rome was not built in a day. So in one sitting, although COP mentioned that meeting for arranging another meeting, that is not our target. However, in one meeting, we cannot build Rome or other city. So more discussion will come next. with new ideas. However, it's a very fruitful training, I think so. And we'll come up for another session to make on more priority and summary. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, well, thank you. From my perspective, it's been a very useful meeting to gain some of your views. As I've undertaken, will ensure next week that some of the materials I've already prepared to send to you so that you can have a look at them, and then hopefully we can move things forward from there. Unless you'd like to have some final words.
Thanks, Mr. Moore, our consultant and our senior sir, Prakash Dhawan sir. My fellow colleagues, but at the moment consultant Roichuddin Khan, guest Kamal, and all of my academy officials, senior officials. I think it's a really very just a good beginning. We want to go far. For reaching far, we may consider it a very fruitful and effective beginning. Let's hope for the best, and we are eagerly waiting for next move by this project, International Development Group's aided project, and Moore's next move. Thanks, Moore, once again, and hope to work together in near future. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you all. It's been a pleasure talking to you and sharing ideas. So unless there's anything else, I'll bring the meeting to a conclusion, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again.